The study found that activity and temperature patterns recorded for polar bears in summer were not comparable to patterns for hibernating bears in winter dens. The patterns were typical of food-deprived mammals rather than hibernating mammals, Amstrup said. Karyn Rode, U.S. Geological Survey research wildlife biologist in Anchorage who was part of a polar bear fasting study published in 2012, said the new study confirms that walking hibernation does not accurately describe polar bears' energetic status in the summer. It's definitely a different line of evidence that further supports that they can't conserve energy when they're fasting, Rode said. Additional studies are coming out, but scientists say it's already clear what needs to be done. We already know the answer to the question, what do we need to do to save polar bears from extinction? Amstrup said. All of the studies in the world won't help us there. If we don't deal with greenhouse gas emissions, those of us who have been studying polar bears for our whole lives will be nothing more than polar bear historians. Ideally, the creators hope, drivers won't leave the bot along busy roads and will charge the battery when it runs low. Otherwise, there are no rules. We want to see what people do with this kind of technology when we leave it up to them, said Frank Zeller, one of the creators and an assistant professor in professional communication at Toronto's Ryerson University. It's an art project in the wild. It invites people to participate. On the outside, Hitchbot looks like it's built for play rather than performance. It has a bucket for a body and bendy foam limbs capped by yellow gardening gloves and matching rubber boots. The whimsical attire is intentional, its makers said, to make it approachable and to deter potential thieves. It has a really low-tech look to it, something we dubbed the yard sale aesthetic, said David Harris-Smith, the other creator and an assistant professor in communication studies at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. The head is actually an acrylic cake saver. Designed to be a talking travel companion, the robot can't toss out factoids and carry limited conversation. It can be charming and cheeky, its makers said. So far, there are no signs of anything nefarious done to the robot, but there's also no proof. Its creators intentionally cast their gaze aside. We want to be very careful to avoid surveillance technologies with this. That's not what we're trying to do here, Smith said. The GPS in the robot can't track its location, and a camera randomly snaps photos about every 20 minutes to document its travels. But the team behind the robot seeks permission from people in the photos before posting them to social media, where Hitchbot has built a devoted fan base. More than 30,000 people follow the robot on Twitter, and dozens have posted their own selfies with it. Friday afternoon, Hitchbot tweeted that it had caught its first ride in Massachusetts. The bot was photographed with its new East Coast friends holding a sign that read San Francisco or Bust.